Prime Minister, thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. Look, Anthony Albanese recently said that his closer ties with Pacific leaders made him much better placed than our opposition leader, Peter Dutton, to have a productive relationship with Donald Trump. I mean, do you think that's true?
I have a very good relationship with Mr. Albanese, as well as a good relationship with Peter Dutton, who was campaigning at the same time as I was campaigning, and we met once in Sydney, and we spoke once also during the campaign season, when some people were pretty hopeful that you would make it after the last election.
And I take it from that you wouldn't expect any change in the relationship in the event that Peter Dutton is elected at our elections later on this year.
I wish them both well. As far as Fiji is concerned, we have two great friends competing against each other.
Anyway, it was a good meeting.
Where was it in Hospital?
Have water lapping at your hands.
Mr. Albanese says that leaders in the Pacific remember when Peter Dutton made a joke about rising sea levels in the Pacific. Do you remember that?
I do not, but I understand the fear and the uncomfortable feeling that some Pacific Island leaders might have felt when Peter Dutton had mentioned what he allegedly mentioned.
Do you think that the Australian government is doing enough on climate change?
I believe that we have we can both up our act on both fronts, the Pacific front and the Australian front, but then we should not be expecting too much. Our problem is that we feel like victims in the equation, in that we have not contributed much to the degradation of the environment, while we suffer the brunt of the effect of climate change and rising sea levels.
Some of the Pacific nations have been quite outspoken about that. I saw recently that Vanuatu's climate change envoy, Ralph Regenevenu, had said that his country was being endangered by Australia's kind of hypocritical gas expansion plans. I mean, do you have any sympathy for that view that, Australia is talking big on climate, but planning, a big expansion of things like gas production?
I feel for the Prime Minister climate change, the Vanuatu climate change envoy, who's a former Prime Minister, and in this case, he is voicing the concern. I do not think we should be blaming anyone. We should all be vociferously pointing out our concerns to the world, and not blame Australia or our closer neighbors. They too feel the same effect of what we're going through, and the Pacific Island leaders have accepted the slow transition from fossil fuel to renewable energy, and we can only walk apace with development and affordability.
When I spoke to you before, I think it was before the 2022 Fiji election, you were very concerned about the spread of China's influence in the Pacific. Is that still a concern?
It is still a concern, and it is something that we have to accept in a responsible manner. Are we going to hang on to the coattails of traditional allies, or are we going to be making our own stand as independent sovereign states on what is best for the country? Now we have a closer relationship with Australia and New Zealand, particularly in the law enforcement area, where we had grown very close to China, and which was not surprising, considering the fact that both Australia and New Zealand and America turned away from us at our hour of need. So we had been developing our own relationship in our Look North policy, looking to Asia more than the West.
I know that you visited Beijing last year and agreed to close cooperation. But would that extend to things like having the Chinese police in Fiji, as they are now in some parts of the Solomon Islands?
We do not have any presence of the Chinese police now, but we have an increasing participation of Australian Federal Police coming in slowly because of the understanding that the former Minister for Police has had with the Federal Police of Australia. Now they are going to be embedded in our headquarters, and we'll have one mentoring our former acting commissioner now coming back.
I noticed that there are 12 schools in Fiji now that where the kids are going to be taught Mandarin under a new agreement with the Chinese government. I mean, I know it's a great thing to have kids learn a new language, but is that also kind of a pointer to Beijing's longer term ambitions in places like Fiji?
I do not think they should really be overly worried about it. Those who are non-Mandarin speaking countries, they should not be too worried about that. We have those Chinese community-run schools, the Dr. Sun Yat-sen Memorial Schools that we have. I think it is only right that they teach those languages to their students, because a lot of them will go back to China. A lot of them have family links still in China, apart from the very early colonial era Chinese settlers who came in as vegetable gardeners and also biche de mer and sandalwood traders.
I mean, has China made any approaches to you since you've been back in government that you've knocked back or that you've had concerns about?
No, they understand me, they understand my background, and they've been very respectful.
How is your own government faring? I mean, you've just invited several opposition members from G9 into your ministry. Critics are saying it's just to prop up your own numbers.
It does not prop up my numbers. It concretes my position, and also as we go into the next stage of the pursuit of the constitutional reforms. We need the numbers to vote those reforms into place, and also to work at promoting the need to reform our constitution.
Your government's been hit by a string of scandals over the last few months, like the one involving Linda Tabuya. Has that hurt your government, do you think?
It does, but then it also shows that there had been instances in the past, in our personal past, and I must remind everybody who is critical about that, and that every saint had a past, every sinner has a future.
And you'll be running again in the next election next year?
As our Muslim brothers would say, inshallah.
Good on you. Thank you very much, Prime Minister. As always, I appreciate your time very much.